Hello and welcome to another episode of FCC Fan TV. Nick here today with my co-host as always, Cody.
What's going on, guys?
Cody, coming up week 3, let's take a look at our opponent, Orlando City SC. Gotta make sure I get that right. So I know we've each kind of taken some look at the first two games. Just kind of tell me something that stands out to you for Orlando going into this game.
So one thing that really stood out to me is now, granted, when I say their entire offense, it's been one goal through two matches so far. They played Atlanta and SKC, so it's okay. But their entire offense goes to the middle of the pitch. Almost all shot selections go through. It was like 80 something percent of their shots come right from the middle. So they're not looking to attack from the sides. They're going to come straight at you.
Okay, that's interesting. I know like a lot of their shots they've gotten in the box, but I think they definitely do have the kind of wide players to maybe kind of that. I think when they're clicking,
Nani.
yeah, not especially watching the two games, Nani still looks his ever never aging supreme fitness self. Kind of just floating the ball in from the left wing there, like he was wont to do. So like a lot of their shots, it looks like come like directly through the middle, but I'd say Nani probably creates a good amount of those. And also one player watching these games that stood out to me is Uwan, their right back. Man, that he likes to get up the field and into the attack, and luckily it looks like he can't finish to save his life. Kind of some Zhou Zhao symptoms we got going on here. But he was in a lot of their dangerous chances from the footage I was able to kind of see from the first two games on the condensed footage here. Really up in the attack. A lot of, kind of generated a lot of their chances just by being another body in the box and just kind of distracting the defenders.
Yeah. Well, he's also someone that was kind of like a preseason selection to be, an all MLS all star this year. So definitely a good player. And same with their goalie, Galisi. Excellent goalie. It's really a well-rounded team. If we go in there looking anything like we did against New York, this isn't going to be pretty. They're I don't want to say completely loaded at every position, but their depth and their solidarity at every position makes a huge
Yeah,
difference.
and I'm gonna flip us over there to the lineups that they put out the last couple of games. So obviously, we'll see one major difference, and we can talk about that here too. But first game, the lined up against Orlando. Alisi, as you mentioned in goal, very very solid goalkeeper. Does have the a little air prone sometimes and likes to spill it, so it might be something we're able to capitalize on. But otherwise, usually pretty solid. Nothing. He's not going to do anything major to hurt him. Kyle Smith filling it at left back to start this year has been solid against Atlanta, shaky against SKC. They really look to exploit him over the top. Cincinnati kid actually, and then obviously played for Louisville City in USL before this. But Jao Matinho might be back for a cameo appearance this game, but it's looks like it's probably Kyle Smith still going to be holding down that left. Schlegel and Antonio Carlos, I believe, center back. Juan, as we mentioned, right back. Then Nani left mid, Mendez and Junior Urso in the center. Chris Miller at the right wing, and then Alexandra Pato and Akinadele up top. And then I can mention here, Pato picked up an injury at this game, which was a big blow for them because he was actually looking really good, had a couple of
His
chances.
preseason was excellent.
Preseason was excellent, and he had a couple nice chances this game. Guzan made a nice save at the end of the game for Atlanta to kind of keep that there. So unfortunate to see him pick up an injury. Kind of story of his career though before he got to MLS. It's kind of why he's here in MLS at this stage. Picked up those injuries, so he's the one that'll probably be questionable for this game. So we can go to the lineup they ran out against Sporting Kansas City for something maybe a little closer. Uh, Kind of same thing across the back line. Smith, Schlegel, Carlos, Juan, and then Andres Perea, U.S. Youth International, played down in the Olympic qualifying tournament. Came on for him. Actually, not just for him, but just kind of they went to the 4-3-3 formation. Mendez and Urso. Perea looks like kind of slotted on. It's kind of just hard to say like who came on straight for who. Probably not a straight switch, but Benji Michelle also down there at the Olympic qualifying tournament came in to play right wing instead of Chris Miller, who did sub on here. Akindele up top, and then Nani shifted, played a lot of left wing even in the previous game, but definitely lined up there from the start and had that filthy, filthy backheel goal in this game, which was just, I mean, Nani has class, and we saw it on display versus Sporting KC.
Yeah. So coming to this match, it's going to be interesting. It really is if Pato plays. If he does, and from what I've seen so far, they said they kept him out of last Friday's match as a precaution. It's MLS. We really never know what that means. That means a precaution could still be 4 weeks from now, or he could be ready to go.
And
Uh,
we see that right now with Lucho picking up his injury. Everything I've seen is day to day, week to week, possibly in a cast, possibly 2 to 4 weeks. I've seen nothing definitive. I'm picking up the 2 to 4 weeks from Laurel Fowler's mailbag, Queen City Press. She had that little tidbit in there I was reading this morning. So,
and actually, she tweeted today that she'll talk to Stam about it
yeah.
tomorrow. She said she's seen 2 to 4 weeks, she's seen 6 to 8 weeks, she's seen day to day. Which also she was in a Twitter conversation with someone over a little Instagram gate for Acosta today, just in the sense that I guess he did I don't know if he took an Instagram picture or did an Instagram live, but he was driving. So he had one hand on the wheel and one hand using his phone. So I was like, well, is his arm okay?
Oh,
Like,
boy.
he's using them both. No, it was nothing serious. It was just kind of funny. But yeah, they are in the same, we are in the same situation with Acosta. And to that sense, what we saw from their first two matches, we could see again. So if Pato plays, we could see Akindele and Pato up top in a 4-4-2. If he doesn't, I feel like they'll play the same kind of formation of a 4-4-3, pulling Benji and Nani up to play in the wing. So it'll be interesting. It's kind of hard to predict without knowing if he's going to play because he's the centerpiece of their forwards.
And we miss Mauricio Pereira missed the first 2 games of this year from a suspension. Their attacking midfielder designated player for the red card he picked up in the MLS playoffs last year in that wild game they had. Just really the end of that game went completely crazy. Uh, so I would just imagine it looks like he's going to be fit, ready to go. So obviously he's going to slot in. So that's going to move around one of those midfielders. And frankly, I don't know enough about their lineup or players. I know Junior Urso apparently is a favorite there. Mendez is solid. Andres Pereira is getting more playing time as kind of a young player. So I'll be curious to see which one of those three possibly slide out for Pereira, because I don't think there's any way they keep him off the field if he's ready to go. And as we said,
So I don't see I see him coming on as a sub only because this would be his first match of the year. If he does start, I would imagine it has to be Andres Pereira. He didn't start in the first match. Mendez and Urso are kind of your anchors on that midfield. This is all just speculating. Obviously, we have no idea what they're going to do, and that still matters if Pato plays.
yeah,
It's hard to predict this match because they just have so many moving pieces. And this is what I was talking about with their depth. It's an insane amount of depth. They
yes,
can just move guys around and still put out MLS quality starters at every
yeah.
position.
You consider the lineups they've run out right now. They've been missing potentially 3 starters. John Matinho, basically first team MLS quality when he's in. Their attack kind of stalled last year a lot when he missed games. So they play a lot up the center, then spread it wide, and then let those guys kind of drive in. So it's going to be definitely kind of a tough one, I think, for our defense to cope with that much talent if Orlando is able to kind of get that attack generated. Because as you kind of mentioned, the little toothless with the first 2 games, obviously playing a couple of quality opponents. Atlanta on the Heinz has been a lot different this year. Last night's CONCACAF Champions League blowout hosting the Philadelphia Union notwithstanding. They've always just kind of been a very solid team for the first couple of games that we've seen. Obviously, before that, I don't think Atlanta's given up more than a goal, and I think that might have been to Chicago in week 2 when they won 3-1. So, couple quality opponents. So I don't know how much to really take from this. I'll flip it back over because against the Sporting KC, it was kind of a slog of a game to watch. I watched it live because it was the Friday night game. And these kind of offensive stats really show it there. 1.4 expected goals total between both teams. Like I said, took a Nani back heel and then a very, very nice shot on the other side of Jean-Luc Busio to go in. But like there wasn't they had, and then I say Sporting KC had 2 goals ruled off by VAR, and so I'm not quite sure how those get factored into expected goals. If they're even counted for, if the play's dead, if they factor into the dangerous position it was in before that. Not a expected goal expert here, but just kind of looking at some of it, it's just kind of see here. Not much really happened for either team getting near the box, the offensive third. Um, One thing, like I said, we mentioned here, Uwan liking to get upfield. It's something we'll probably definitely more to. kind of a slog of a game. And honestly, we can kind of pull up the stats here for Orlando uh, hosting Atlanta for week one. Like no goals, very minimal shots on target. You know, relatively even across everything else. Expected goals, one each, and they didn't come off. Like they haven't quite got the offense jumping, and we can kind of see here. I pulled up the football reference for kind of guys for last year. I'll be curious to see if they get Chris Miller back in on the right wing for Benji Michelle, because you can see here 10 goals, 6 assists.
Is it Mueller?
I want to say Mueller because for Byron,
Thomas
yeah,
Mueller?
but I'm not sure. Nick and pronunciation strikes again on this
Yeah,
one.
it is spelled the
Yeah,
same
so
if
I'm gonna
anyone's
I'm gonna go with
curious.
Mueller. Just sounds cooler, makes him seem more German. And honestly, great production, like his namesake will say. I mean, 10 goals, 6 assists in a short year last year, and they even flashed the one against Sporting KC when he subbed on late. 7 of those were leading to the game-winning goal. Either he scored it or assisted on it. Obviously, you can see here Dale DK. I don't know if we really need to mention for everyone that obviously he's not here. He's on loan in the championship for Barnsley and tearing it up and getting them into the playoff promotion playoff. Too many playoffs in that one. But he's killing it and more than likely not gonna be back. Is probably gonna get sold. And then obviously Nani was 6-4 and just kind of spread out from there. So they have a lot of ways to score, and we'll just see if they're able to actually jumpstart that. And unfortunately, like the kind of team that is gonna jumpstart some offense.
Yeah. So one thing we haven't really talked about either, we touched on it with Ruan and Galisi. They've only given up one goal as well. They might have only scored one goal this season, but they've only given up one through 2 matches. It's a good defensive squad.
Mm-hmm.
The way we looked without Acosta, if we're without Acosta again, we could be in for a long, long 90 minutes if we can't get anything going, which we'll talk about in a second, what we expect to see out of our lineup. But that's, I think, I have faith that whatever Stom's doing in training this week, we gave up 5 goals on set pieces, but that means we didn't give them up in regular play. If we can limit the set pieces, maybe we're looking okay defensive wise. I fully expect Teton to be back this week. Um, yeah, I just don't want Cody in goal again. But but it's our offense against their defense that scares me for this match. If we don't have a cost, I just don't know if we're gonna get much
Yeah, I'll
going.
be curious to see because Orlando weren't very press happy in these couple of games. They were very willing to content and kind of play a sort of a mid block, kind of muck it up in the midfield, which I think would be better for us if they continue to play that way because we saw how disastrously we did when New York City FC turned on the press, when Nashville turned on their press. We couldn't get out of our own half. And the first game with Nashville was even with Acosta. And obviously, we never made it out of our own half, really, outside of
And
NYCFC.
that was a Makoto issue and Kubo issue in the Nashville match. They couldn't pass a ball upfield to save their
Yeah, and like I
lives,
said,
which both look better against New
I
York.
think Kubo looked better. Makoto still, he looks like he may have lost a little step with that injury. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get it back. Hopefully, early in the season, coming back down off the this is guy is falling. Early season, players still trying to get to know each other. So hopefully, another game of familiarity, we can kind of get those links back up. So I guess let's just turn it right into what we kind of expect our lineup to look at. Cody, are you expecting any major changes from the match at NYCFC?
Major in my head, yes. Barrial just hasn't showed me anything this year. At least last match, you saw Calvin Harris progress from game to game so far. So let's keep that progression going. Let's go to the next game. Let's see if he progresses even more. It's been 2 matches. I'd like to see Lacadia start. I don't want to see it at this point. Normally, I'd say let's put him at left, but Harris is looking better than Barrial. Then let's put him at right.
Yeah, so as kind of talked about the early season thing, I wonder how much of the struggles with Barrio and Barrio and Zhao on that flank just don't look on the same page. They often look like they're running into each other. They both kind of want the ball at the same spot. And I hope it's an early season thing, guys in new positions, first time playing with each other, trying to get back to the more optimist route here. So I definitely think Lacadia needs to come on, and it feels unfortunate. I think this one, I really don't know how to think about this. Because if we want Zhao and Barrial, we think they're going to be the season-long solutions. It feels rough to put Lacadia in Barrial's place because you want that partnership to keep going and see what you have. And but then it feels like why are we punishing Calvin Harris for actually getting better for the week, playing a game, and then putting Lacadia over him? I do agree that Lacadia is going to, I would think, start this game. I don't, I,
What about starting him at the 10? This is more of a question. You know,
yeah, maybe.
why not try it?
Yeah,
If
mm,
Acosta's out, obviously. If Acosta's in, Acosta's playing. But if Acosta's hurt, keep Ariel, keep Harris, Brenner, and then throw Acosta at the or Acosta. Yes, throw Acosta at the 10,
I could
please.
see that.
But
I
throw
could
Lacadia at
see
the
us
10.
going to maybe more of like a 4-4-2 in that case, but we really don't have the formation. We have so many wingers. If we want to talk about us, we were playing the 2-2-6. It feels like with all these signings, and we don't even mention Atonga might even be eligible to come in as off the bench this game.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he would be ready to
Yeah,
go.
so I don't know. Like it'd be
We
interesting to.
know the back four is going to be the back four. There's going to be no changes. You're going to have Jow at right, Matarita at left, and we don't have any other center backs right now. So you're going to have Hagelin and Pedersen as your center backs. Hopefully, Teton's
Yep.
ready. I haven't seen anything prolonging his injury. Have you seen anything this week
I
about?
have not. One dark horse I'll say maybe Stanko gets shoved in at center back if Stom's really just trying to send a message or doghouse somebody if he's not happy with one of Pedersen or Hagelin. Pedersen.
Okay,
I doubt it just because you want to keep the continuity in the back line, but I think that's like the
sure.
only other option to fill in there right now. I'd be curious if we think we are not going to be pressing as much if Harris gets the nod at the 6 over Makoto. But I think if you do that, you really need Cruz in there, like even more so than I think we need Cruz at the 8. Um, Obviously, he didn't really do much against NYCFC. Once again, played out of position as a 10. Did the pressing duties well when called upon, but once again, not his position. And I hate that he keeps getting stuck there. But Kubo did look much better against NYCFC. So
Well,
it was nice to
and
see
that's
him be
why
more decisive on his run. So honestly, maybe a
if you
Cruz Kubo pairing.
okay, so that's what I was gonna say. If you would have asked me this question prior to last week with how Kubo looked in game one, I would have said, heck, let's well, I did say it last week. I said let's put Cruz at the 8 and throw Kubo up to right wing. Because we stuck with Kubo, because he looked better, I don't see Stom switching him from that 8 spot right now, which kind of leaves Cruz as the odd man out,
Well,
unless we're playing him out of position at the 10 again, which I don't want to
I
see.
wonder then why not just slide Kubo up to the 10. Honestly, like I think if you want to try, I think that midfield pairing works is not the best term to use here, but I think we'd be better if that happened. Maybe. Like
Well,
it's just without
that or
Acosta, it just
Lacadia.
feels awful. No matter which one you throw out there, no one on this roster can do anything close to what he can at that 10 position. So I
Which not many teams have depth at that spot, which is why you see teams shuffle. I don't know if we even have the players to shuffle without
frankly
essentially the centerpiece of our
we don't.
offense.
And honestly, this is when if you missing a play like that, you would expect a formation shift, but we don't have the personnel to shift a formation even then. Like we were talking about, if you wanted to put a second striker up there and go to a 4-4-2, well then we're just kind of we don't really need the wingers then. Like Barrial and Karras aren't going to be pinching in a 4-4-2 diamond kind of formation even. Like it just kind of gets a little, we don't have that ability as much. Maybe if we go to like a 5-3-2, but we don't even have the center backs to play three of them. And like I would assume at that point, if we go to maybe we come back out in a back three and Stanko slots in at like right center back or something like that with Hagelin in the middle. I could see that happening. Zhao at wing back, Matarita at wing back, Kubo and Makoto in front of him. And then, then you're probably benching one of Barrial and Harris. Maybe. I don't.
Which
Because,
right now should be Barrial.
yeah. Like,
And I like Barrial.
no, I
I
think,
just he hasn't showed enough through two matches to where at least
no.
Harris has been like, oh, I looked mediocre. Oh, I looked
Yeah, and I
better.
wonder if that point, if it's we keep searching for a 10, I wonder if Barrial slides into the middle. Because, like, he still seems fine with the ball at his feet. Like, he likes to dribble, makes a good pass. That way we could still start as many of our, I don't know, wingers as possible. Like,
Sure.
I'm, at this point, obviously Cruz has shown through last season and even last game that the 10 is not for him. No, I don't think really a fault of his own. That's just not the player he
No,
is. So at that point, Kubo can't really.
this is
Yeah,
gonna
like
be
it's gonna be the question.
this is gonna be one of those matches for either team where we're not gonna know anything until I get a FOT bomb notification an hour before the match kicks
Yeah,
off when it says the lineups are in. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing.
I'm.
This is what Orlando's
Yeah,
doing.
honestly, like it feels more than likely. I think it's probably gonna be the exact same formation minus one of the wingers slide in Lacadia for 60 minutes instead of 30. I I, I think that's probably what's going to be just to keep everyone on the same page and not just kind of guys falling. It was a bad week. Forget and move on. So
Okay. So let's say now we've kind of done this with we're assuming Acosta's out, which we have no reason to think he's in. Let's be optimistic, say Acosta's in. Do you see a change anywhere else?
I'm besides the wing, Lacadia probably starts.
So you would say
Yeah,
Lacadia
and
still
honestly,
plays in.
I
Okay.
I think it's bad as it sounds. It's probably over Harris. And let Harris come on and kind of just be the energy guy. I think we still, if we think Barrial is going to be here long term, Gal, by long term, I even mean just through this season as a starting, you kind of want to see them play together just to keep that relationship building and just kind of try to get them on the same page for a better in the season. So I think that's probably why, unfortunately, Harris, despite his play last week, probably takes that hit and hits the bench for at least the first 60 minutes of the game and kind of switch it around here.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll do this. Give me one key to the game for SC that you would say would lead us to at least a point, 3 points, hopefully. But just one key, like what does FC Cincinnati need to do to come home with a point out of this match?
Not give up goals on set pieces. Is that cheating? No, I think it's going to be how we handle the middle of the field again. If we let Nani tuck in and play some, like, not necessarily crosses, but he likes to come in off the left and kind of float a ball into the box. If Mauricio Pereira starts and he's able to control, kind of pull the strings in midfield, we're going to be in trouble there too. Like I said, Uwan likes to get up the field and get in. Um, it feels bad to say everything because Orlando is such a, like as we mentioned, deep team, competent team. They can hurt you multiple ways. Like Nani could have a field day on our left flank with Barrial and Zhao. I think Juan could burn us on the right if Matarrita gets caught up too much. I think we're going to have a hard time dealing with their midfield if Pereira is able to sit there and pull strings. I think their only deficiency is right now is left back. Like from the Sporting KC game, Kyle Smith was kind of burned for pace a little bit down the side, which maybe late game if Atanga is able to come in and kind of provide that spark might be something we can exploit. But Barrial's not necessarily a burner. Um, so yeah, it feels like cheating to say everything, but I think we're like Orlando's such just a compact team of solid players at every position. The team's just gonna everyone's gonna have to be locked in for us to just not leak goals again.
And you would assume after a 5-0 loss that they should have had something had to go on in training this week. If it was a player going off, Stom going off, I don't know. Linder came down from his high horse and went off.
No, Linder came
Whoever.
out and said patience.
Yeah, I know. He had
Yeah,
a.
which
Pat Brennan did an interview with him today. If anyone
yeah,
hasn't seen it yet, it's actually really interesting. And one of the biggest quotes out of it was at minimum he wants a winning record this year. And it's like, well, so do the rest of us.
yeah, yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, be patient is gonna be my new trust the process. I was a big trust the process guy, and I think we should bring Hink.
But that
I think
worked.
we should give Hinky a chance to learn MLS rules and watch him come in, and we'd probably have so many gems from other rosters. Dear Sam Hinkie, please learn MLS salary cap rules and come save us.
um, yeah.
What
So
what do
okay,
you what
we
do
did
you
one.
think is going to be sort of a key to the game?
Oh, I 100% is the midfield. It's they Orlando City plays in the midfield. That's their entire match. I want to say like 45% of their touches were in the middle third. They win and lose by the midfield. If we can't, and they're a possession-based team. If we can't, what we talked about after New York, play with Actually, here's the patience thing, but not us having patience. They need to play with patience. You know, Stop trying to launch the ball and counter every single play. Build the field, and that's gonna be how you're gonna beat Orlando.
Yeah.
You gotta play with your teammates. You gotta play upfield. Stop trying to counter every single time you touch the ball, because not every time Orlando's not gonna sit guys. They're not gonna send their entire team up. So anytime you counter, there's going to be somebody there. Stop trying to counter every play. Stop trying to play quickly. Slow down.
Yep.
Just slow the game down, and just if it's short passes, short pass your way up the pitch. That's what I want to see. I want to see us if we have like 54% possession, I'll almost take that as a win regardless of the score. Like that's my infuriating part about this team is them just trying to play quick. As soon as we get the ball, it's like, ooh, where's the goal? Like, and they try and run downfield. Like, just slow it down.
Yep. And I will say we play like that because we cannot handle any sort of pressing by our opponents. So,
And this isn't a pressing
yeah,
team.
I'll
So
be
this is our
curious if
chance.
Oscar Pareja, who's proven to be a fantastic coach in MLS and for his other stops, obviously before he got to Orlando, if he changes up his team's tactics coming into this one and has them high pressing more, could be something we can exploit if they're not used to it and kind of play through it. But it's going to take confidence on the ball, quick decision making, and just good touches. And once again, things outside of the first 15 minutes against Nashville we haven't shown.
Yeah. All right. One matchup you're looking forward to. I'll give you mine first. I wouldn't say looking forward to this. I'm saying it's going to be a very pivotal matchup. Is Jao and Nani. So Jao looked awful in the first game at right back. Looked better in the second game. Now you're against probably the best. We'll call him a winger at this point. He's pretty versatile. And Nani that you've played so far this season at your new position, it's going to be pretty pivotal for him to maintain some kind of semblance of balance with Nani. Nani's going to beat him. It's going to happen. How many times is going to be the key. So my kind of key to the match and matchup I'm looking forward to seeing, hopefully in a better way, is Jao versus Nani. You got anything? You got one on
No,
there?
I will add into that. I think it's just going to be Zhao and Barrial versus Nani because I think Barrial needs to
Okay.
help tracking back a little bit more to kind of keep our defensive shape sound. So the way they're, once again, issues we've had, communication just looks poor all across this team, and I think it's something that should be easily improved upon. Communication on just like when to hand him off, where to go, who's going to cover him, and obviously probably going to be an overlapping runner. Kyle Smith doesn't get up there as much as Juan, or even Jao Matinho would. He's more of a stay-at-home left back, but he knows, he can come up and make the overlap, and how we just sort of handle when someone like Nani, or I'll even say like Mauricio Pereira is on the ball, if we're communicating to pick up those runners. I just want to see just overall just incremental improvements all across the field defensively. Communication, I think you're right there. Like Nani has the ability to pick us apart if given the time, and not closing down on him, he will find somebody. He will put that ball in there. He's been serving up pretty solid crosses through the game highlights I was able to watch the first couple of games. They just haven't gone in yet. And that's the kind of ball, obviously, it's not necessarily a set piece, but runners in space, ball in the air, not our strong suit so far.
Nope.
And honestly, I would expect this is going to look like maybe not as much of a dynamic anymore at his age, but like Leal tore us apart for Nashville, who honestly tore tearing the first two teams apart. So I'll just be curious to see, how that battle goes and just how the communication for our team works out.
Yeah.
So I want to go
All
to
right.
what's your score prediction? We can do
That
with Acosta,
that was my next one.
without Acosta.
Deal. With Acosta, I'm going 2-2. We're going to take a point. Without Acosta, 3-1 loss.
Yeah, so I have the same prediction for a loss without Acosta, 3-1, and then I think if we do have Acosta, we lose 2-1, but look better doing it.
Okay.
So 3-1 Orlando City, more than likely. Hopefully, maybe we get beat from open play this time. Maybe we just unfortunately get hit with a couple back heels. I
don't know. I don't know if I want to get beat from open play, because then we're going to suck from open play and set pieces. I'd rather just suck from one
I'm
vantage
not gonna
point.
lie though, if the first goal we give up is 5 minutes in off a corner and they win a header and it just goes in, I'll actually be very curious to see how the team reacts. I think they quit after the third goal, really, against NYCFC, and I'm afraid if they give up one early in the same sort of circumstance they did there, we're really going to see what this team's made of. And if the heads go down already that early in, or even after the first one, it's it's gonna be a rough one to dig out of, because at that point it just looks like this team doesn't believe they can score or win. And we saw that last year. We go down a goal, we have to play absolute perfection. As soon as we went down one, it last year was game over. And it's unfortunately
Yep.
looking like they already sort of believe that now, especially without Acosta. It might just be true.
Yeah. It's I'm gonna keep the optimism going. I know I said it'd be 3-1 loss without Acosta, but we lost 5-0 last week to a not as good of a team as Orlando is. I'm not looking at it in a negative light. It's just without our quarterback, I just don't see this team coming away with a win. And I mean, credit to me, I at least gave him a tie if Acosta or a draw if Acosta plays. You gave him still a loss, but if we can get out of this with a point, and we're bringing 2 points home from 3 away matches, and then we're coming home to our first, opening the stadium in 2 weeks from then because we're off next
Yeah,
week.
which honestly probably could not
Uh,
come at a better time leading into that.
yeah. I think it'll be. I want to say we'll be okay. If we get bludgeoned this game, what does the outlook look like at that point? They've got. I don't want to. It's sad saying we need to play for a draw, but I don't think we're going to win this match regardless. So play for the point.
Yeah. And honestly,
Give me 2 points from 3 away matches from this team that we've seen for 2 years and 2 matches so far. I would take it.
yeah,
You know.
I'd be ecstatic if we come out of Orlando with a point. I mean, that's always got to be your goal when you go on the road, is to walk away with points. Always want to win every game, but being realistic, especially with that's kind of how MLS works. The home field advantage hasn't quite ticked back up completely to what it was with full stadiums, but yeah, if you can walk away with any points on the road, it's a victory.
Yeah. Did you see that Atlanta is starting May 15th
Yep,
or the same week that we're home? So May 16th. So May 15th, they play Saturday. Full capacity.
I did see that. Highly doubt that'll happen here. I was also keeping around, like, they had fully vaccinated supporter sections out in LAFC. So if you were able to prove that you were vaccinated, 2 week period afterwards, they had a support section you were allowed to be in. Not as much social. I don't even think any social distancing, if so minimal. I think you still had to maybe wear a mask. So we can hope somehow happens, because at this point I don't think we'll make it into the home opener on our priority list for six
No.
thousand. And
No. Okay. So we say that. We need to find 12 other people. Did you get
yeah,
that email today?
yeah, and get the.
We need to find 12.
We're limiting to 6,000 people, but hey, if you want 14 people to come sit next to you and rent out a suite for a game, then boy, do we have space for you.
With no food or drink that cost extra. That was my favorite part of that email, is that it wasn't included. I'm like, well, that's fine. No, I saw that email and got a smile out of it. I mean, I'm not going to blame FC for trying to get some money.
No, I mean,
Uh,
everyone knows sporting events, they make their money off of suites.
all
Yep.
sweets, all sweets and concessions. Your tickets mean nothing.
Right
If
now,
anyone wants
right
the
now they
honest
literally aren't
truth,
anything. They're just a barcode on my phone. So tickets mean
it's true.
nothing. They're a figment
That is true.
watching.
So not much news this week. We have no news on Acosta yet. I expect to hear more from that tomorrow. No news on Teton. Uh, I mean, we covered Atanga is in training this week. Hopefully, he'll at least be on the bench
Oh,
come
you
Saturday.
forgot we've been involved some reason in the Franco Frappan saga for left wing, who's basically signed a deal with Minnesota United, but they keep rumors out of I think he's in Argentina, maybe in Brazil, but Brazil for Telerace keeps getting rumor that he's signing a deal with FC Cincinnati, and it's not happening. He's signing with Minnesota
No.
United.
Well, I believe they have his like whatever
I
the
think it's
ML was it the finding
yeah.
finding
Adrian Heath came
fees,
out and said
finding
they had
rights,
his discovery
discovery
rights.
rights, whatever.
So
Discovery
I'm
rights.
still
I was dancing around it the whole
I'm
time.
confused how we keep getting linked to him, because obviously it just kind of seems like the link to drive up the price, but there's literally no way we could be linked to him unless we were willing to pay for his discovery rights, which were, well, I'm not gonna throw it out of the mind. He's a winger, so we need 8 of them, but that one just seems dumb and not happening.
Yeah. I think what FC Cincinnati is trying to do, whoever in the front office read the book Inverting the Pyramid, and they're trying to reinvert the pyramid to where we're just going to have one guy back on defense and just wingers abundance, and we're just going to send them.
Yeah, they were gonna play old timey footy. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe we should like slowly de-invert it. Maybe we should just go back to playing like Route One and just like hoof it and run. I think that should be our first one,
Yeah.
and then we'll see like add on like the fourth winger. See how
Yeah.
it
I
goes.
think that's what they're just trying to they're trying to reinvent football all over again. Time machines ablazing, and we're just taking it back, way back, and we're trying to respin the wheel on football, maybe with all these wingers, and maybe one of them would be good.
They're all good, Cody. They play for FC Cincinnati.
I know. I'm trying to keep it optimistic. Okay, so we gave our score predictions. Neither of us are predicting well, but like we said, Orlando City is a good team. It's nothing really to even take away from FC Cincinnati at this point. This is a team that's expected to play for that to be a potential team in MLS Cup this year. If we saw them in Columbus in the Eastern Finals, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see either of those two teams. So it's not even a slight on FC Cincinnati. It's really like we're going to away to a really good team. So like I said, taking a point out of it would be honestly a win for us. Coming home on a bye week and then opening the stadium. So taking a point could be really huge. Do you have any parting shots, Nick?
No, I think I've talked enough this week. I waxed poetic enough on FC Cincinnati, so I'm gonna keep it short on this one. So that'll be it for me.
All right. Yeah, I got nothing either. So I can pretty much say for both of us, let's do something this weekend. Like let's go orange and blue, try and get a point. But that's pretty much it for us, guys. Thank you for listening again. I'm going to assume Nick will be live tweeting during the game. I usually tend to not look at my phone as much during the match. So follow us on Twitter. That's at is it TV underscore FCC, Nick?
Correct.
Yeah, most tweets are from him. It's rare that I'm on the Twitter. So most tweets are from Nick. So if you ever want to bother Nick, just directly
And if
tweet
there's
at that
something you
Twitter
disagree
account.
with, it was the one time Cody sent one.
That's true. But cool. We should have this up, I assume, tomorrow. We're recording this today on Wednesday, so Nick will one day get us on Apple
Look,
Podcasts.
man, I'm tired. I don't want iTunes on my new computer. I'm tired of it, but I'll get there.
That's, but that's it for us, guys. Thanks for listening to another episode. From Nick, I'm Cody. See you guys next time. Let's get a point away this weekend.